Weber State was a hotspot for political activism this week following 2 on-campus protests and an impeachment proceeding.
We'll also be following up with the Survey for Disability Services, House Bill 261, and more campus news.
I'm Kyle Indahar.
And I'm Gracie Stevenson. You're watching Wildcat News. For the first time in Weber State history, a student body president impeachment proceeding was held. Advocacy Vice President Kit Bird submitted formal grievances against President Emily Sorensen. The complaint suggests that Sorensen failed to meet the expectations of her leadership position. Accusations include inappropriate behavior, mismanagement of resources, and lack of student engagement. Sorensen denied the claims. Following the impeachment proceedings, the matter was put to vote and resulted in a 12-10 tally in favor of the impeachment. The motion failed as WSU bylaws require a minimum 3/4 majority and not a simple majority for impeachment to pass. As a result, Sorensen will remain president for the remainder of her term.
The 2025's FAFSA form has officially released 10 days ahead of schedule according to the Federal Student Aid Office. Following last year's technical issues surrounding the FAFSA form, the office has extended their help center hours of operation in order to better support students should they run into any problems. While there may have been no new issues reported with this year's form, the office said they would continually monitor for any issues over the coming days and weeks ahead to ensure a smooth rollout.
Governor Spencer Cox has condemned the Bureau of Land Management's decision against plans for a new highway through Washington County in southern Utah. Locals and government agencies are divided over how to address east-west traffic congestion in the greater St. George area. The BLM originally approved the highway in 2021, but a lawsuit against the decision forced the BLM to do a second investigation into the proposal. The BLM then determined there were 4 alternative routes which were less invasive to the habitat of the endangered Mojave Desert tortoise and the Red Cliffs National Conservation Area. Those opposed to the Northern Corridor Highway are celebrating the BLM's decision, while those in favor are looking to the future presidential administration to overturn this decision.
The annual tradition of the Christmas Village is coming November 30th and will run through January 1st. City employees and local volunteers have spent the last week setting up the displays in Ogden Municipal Gardens. Christmas Village has been held since 1962 and brings the community and visitors together this time of year. This year's festivities will begin on November 30th with the Santa Run on Washington Boulevard beginning at 4:30 p.m. This will be followed by the Holiday Electric Light Parade, and then at 6:30 p.m. there will be an opening ceremony at the amphitheater, followed by fireworks and the turning on of the lights. The Christmas Village lights are turned on nightly beginning at 5 p.m. Admission to Christmas Village is free, so come by and enjoy an evening with your community. But student parking has undergone some intense scrutiny lately, with multiple issues being brought to light. Here's Gracie Stevenson to tell us all about it.
Weber State University students are expressing frustration as parking problems persist despite the end of the fall semester. Many students are struggling with limited parking spaces, making it difficult to find spots during peak hours. The ongoing issue highlights the need for better parking solutions to accommodate the growing student population. In addition to limited parking spaces, parking services at Weber State have been a source of frustration due to inconsistencies with ticketing. Students report errors in issuing tickets and challenging appeals, causing further anger and confusion among the campus community. These issues have only added to the parking struggles, highlighting a need for improved parking management and communication. One student, Crystal Orontis, was even issued a parking ticket to her student account despite her not owning a car or having an American driver's license.
Yeah, I mean, that was really frustrating, just because this mishap should have never happened to begin with. There were so many steps they could have missed, in my opinion.
Experiences like Orontis's span across students campus-wide. Other individuals complain of similar issues, such as having a ticket sent to the wrong account, having an incorrect name associated with their ticket, and having their license plate number entered incorrectly. Despite widespread frustration about parking issues, Student Senator Amy Clegg encourages students to give parking services the benefit of the doubt.
They definitely be patient with the people who are giving tickets. They're just students. They're students just trying to work, and they're just doing their job. I guarantee you they don't like giving tickets either. But once again, it's their job, and they're just trying to make sure that the people who did pay for their pass are getting the spots that they're supposed to, and the people who didn't know, hey, this is something that we need, something that you have to kind of pay for.
Parking services claim to sell an equal number number of passes to spots ratio. But the limited parking spaces available leave many students questioning the truth behind that. As a new semester is just around the corner, students are left hoping for improved diligence on behalf of parking services. I'm Gracie Stevenson, reporting from Weber State University, Ogden.
Well, thank you so much, Gracie. And Gracie, oh man, you know what parking reminds me of are those luxury suites for the seniors right in front of the Lindquist Hall.
I know, I want one of those so bad.
So nice.
The Ogden City skyline has forever changed following the demolition of the Ogden Co-op grain stacks. Hundreds gathered to watch the implosion of the Farmers Grain Co-op elevators at the base of 24th Street in Ogden. The building has been a predominant part of Ogden's history since its construction in the early 40s. We caught up with the Ogden City Public Information Officer Mike McBride as he and his team live-streamed the implosion to hundreds more.
Really, the city's role in all of this is public safety. So the reason that we're here today is just to make sure that folks aren't impeding traffic, that they're staying out of the detonation zone, and that this project goes safely as planned.
McBride said that they asked the public to steer clear of the area, but the interest in the historic building couldn't be ignored. Luckily, police officers on site were able to keep the crowd contained outside of the blast zone. The first building came down without a hitch, but the second building detonation was delayed, causing crews to check the structural integrity of the building before one final implosion brought the rest of the elevator down. Following the implosion on November 2nd, many broken windows could be seen on buildings surrounding the blast zone. We spoke to Rusty's Auto owners Robert and Jenny Fluke, who said that the demolition team cleaned up all the broken glass, boarded up their windows, and even ensured a police officer was stationed overnight until their windows were repaired less than a week later.
Speaking of breaking down, here is Tanaya Hyde to tell us all about the new compost bins across campus.
Hello, I'm Tanaya Hyde at Ogden, Utah, Weber State University, and I'm here today to find out about their composting program. The university has been composting food waste for over 14 years. This practice benefits the community by decreasing landfill accumulation and helping the environment. Many facility members encourage students to pay attention to their waste and sort it out accordingly, so it can be appropriately handled and recycled as best as possible.
So the compost that you see here actually goes to a facility in North Salt Lake. It gets picked up weekly on Tuesdays, and it goes to the Wasatch Resource Recovery Center, where it's turned into a natural gas product that is used for energy for home and business heating, as well as a solid compost product that can be applied to the land.
The composting program is an important part of Weber State's initiative to achieve zero waste by 2040, and the benefits are abundant.
I think there's quite a few benefits to this program. So food waste is really heavy, so it's saving Weber money in like landfill tipping fees. It's reducing food waste in landfills and the greenhouse gas emissions associated. It's just really bettering the planet, and I guess it's also a benefit to the people who buy the compost and biogas that's produced.
So I would say that originally the program really benefited campus and some local community members who would get compost from us. It just allowed us to use the product right here on campus. Now that we're using the biodigester system, I mean, ultimately it benefits the much larger community, because the biofuel is actually turned into natural gas, and that is used in the communities surrounding the biodigester, so it lowers utilities cost.
I'm Tanaya Hyde reporting from Weber State University, Ogden, Utah. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanaya.
The U.S. election has come and gone with some controversial results, even leading to protests. Megan and I were able to get into the field to check it out.
Two Weber State organizations recently went head-to-head on multiple on-campus protests surrounding recent political controversies.
What started out as peaceful took a chaotic turn.
Friday's protest was held by the College Democrats at Weber State and centered around disdain for President-elect Trump. Students peacefully protested and encouraged conversations between those with different viewpoints.
A big thing and a big focal point here is rights. The other two members of the leadership there are both trans, and that's often what people are thinking about. They're thinking about trans rights, just the broader LGBTQ plus rights, reproductive rights, all these things that could just be taken away under Trump, especially with Project 2025.
This protest was highly successful for the College Democrats, gaining them over 20 new members. Shepherd Union Director Molly Ward said it was one of the most active tabling she's ever seen. The College Democrats used homemade signs during their peaceful protest.
However, those same signs were used for a different purpose days later. The second protest of the week started when the Young Americans for Freedom organization tabled on Wednesday in the Shepherd Union atrium, promoting anti-transgender messages in the hope of using individuals that had detransitioned to amplify the dangers of transition.
The 20th of November typically is, seen as like a kind of a woke pseudo holiday known as Transgender Day of Remembrance. And so I thought I would do a bit of a counter to that and do a Detransitioners Day of Remembrance.
This angered many members of the College Democrats as Wednesday marked the Transgender Day of Remembrance.
The information that they were spreading, the information that they were saying was all misinformation. It was used from contacts that were notoriously known to spread misinformation. And we don't have all the facts, obviously, but we're spreading facts from our own experiences. I'm trans myself. I have been chased, I have been harassed, I have been stabbed, I have been attacked. And to see someone on the one day that we get nationally to just mourn our fallen trans siblings and friends, it's very sad for me.
Chants echoed throughout the atrium during Wednesday's hour-long protest. Students could be heard shouting obscenities and personal attacks to the opposing groups. Tensions were higher in this protest as many members of the College Democrats felt that they were fighting for rights of themselves and their community.
Campus police were present at both protests, but were more active on Wednesday, ensuring safety for both protesters and bystanders alike. Despite the chaotic nature of the protest, no violence occurred.
While student protesting is welcome, campus safety is a first priority. I'm Megan Swan.
And I'm Gracie Stevenson, reporting from Weber State University, Ogden. That was a really intense protest, but honestly, I'm just glad that students have the right to use their freedom of speech on campus.
Definitely, and I don't know, but I am always just so relieved when I hear things like this turn out peacefully.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Well, that's not the only impact political activity has had on campus. Weber State continues to feel the impact of House Bill 261, otherwise known as the Educational Opportunity Bill. This legislation has led to changes and challenges on campus impacting both students and staff. However, it is most commonly known for its removal of all cultural centers throughout Weber's campus. Despite the bill having been passed in last year's legislative session, the effects are still being felt campus-wide. As a university with one of the most broad-based identity centers, Administrator Jessica Euler said the bill impacted Weber more than other colleges around the state, although it wasn't the only one to implement the removal of its cultural centers. Many students continue to feel displaced following the removal of these centers, and STEM faculty struggle to deal with the after effects of the bill's passing, Euler included. Despite the continual turmoil the bill's passing has caused, Euler looks hopefully to the restructure of the cultural centers. Although the identity-based centers have been removed, the Student Success Center has remodeled them to be more of a one-stop shop. Students can still find a place of belonging and connection, but resources for navigating the university can now also be found there. Euler hopes to see the new center continue to evolve to be a place where students can no longer mourn the loss of their cultural centers.
A man was killed on Sunday when an Ogden police officer shot the suspect after he pulled out his gun following a call to 911 from the suspect's wife over a domestic violence incident. Police responded to a call in the neighborhood of 1000 North Street on Sunday afternoon to assist the woman who was trying to take her belongings from the home that she shared with her estranged husband. Upon arriving, the officers tried to calm down the situation, but the man was confrontational and uncooperative, with the officers prior to grabbing his weapon as the officers entered the house. The officer involved in the shooting has been placed on leave while the Weber County Critical Investigations team looks further into the incident. In other news, there are many political activities going on around campus. Tanaya was able to get some students' opinions on the election, so let's check that out.
This is Tanaya Hyde reporting from Weber State University, Ogden, Utah. I'm here today to talk to students about how they feel about the recent 2024 election. Some Weber State students are conflicted about the 2024 presidential election, and others know exactly how they do feel.
Honestly, pretty disappointed. I am a queer person, and so it's very knowing that so many people voted for somebody that is actively doing a lot of harm to my community as well as many other communities. It's very disheartening to see the direction that it seems like our country is going. I have hopes that it gets better, but I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting 4 years, and I'm hoping that people within my community and people within other marginalized communities are taking the steps they need to feel safe while we navigate the next 4 years.
I don't know. I feel like stressed is a good word about all of it. Yeah, I feel like that kind of sums it up. I feel like a lot of uncertainty. I feel like a lot of what's stressful for me is, I don't know, I have a lot of friends and family who are on very opposite sides of the political spectrum and all. And I just feel like it's a very stressful time to be alive, just with everyone having such polarizing views.
Mixed emotions, big decisions. These students represent our country right now.
I kind of felt scared because I'm still 17, and I kind of feel scared for my future and rights because I want to say I was a Kamala supporter, and because I supported her because of her LGBTQ rights and her women's rights, and Trump really didn't support any of that. So once Trump got elected, I was kind of scared for my future, but we survived him for 4 years before, so I just got to survive this next 4 years.
I hope that we can do better and make better decisions, and I hope that our country and the people in it can only continue to feel safe, and I hope we can move past this and have a hopeful future for everyone in America, not just one group in particular.
I'm Tanaya Hyde reporting from Weber State University, Ogden, Utah. Thank you.
Thanks, Tanaya. We're moving off campus now to visit with Star Neal on the upcoming changes to Lester Park.
The Ogden City Council is currently considering a reconstruction project for Lester Park, located off 25th Street and Jefferson Avenue in Ogden.
The park is minutes from downtown, right off the OGX route, and is neighbored by the main branch of the Weber County Library and the Golden Hours Senior Center. However, the park remains unused by many due to safety concerns and a lack of amenities, especially since the park's only restroom has been closed and barricaded off due to vandalism. I spoke with Ogden City Council member Dave Graff, who is working closely with the Ogden City government and the community to create a proposal for the improvements.
The mayor, the police chief, other leaders in the Parks and Recreation Division, and I really picked up a sense of need in this park and a desire on the part of the neighborhood to really create something that would be more used in Ogden. And Lester Park is it.
Graff said some ideas popping up included basketball and pickleball courts, a walking path, and of course, a new and more creative playground. He hopes that the park could become a hub for community events as well, such as music or art in the park, and a weeknight farmers market produced by the Ogden Downtown Alliance, who has already shown an interest in the park. Eva Barnett is one of the community stakeholders actively involved in the park reconstruction project, and she hopes that the improvements could not only help unify the community, but help improve the physical and mental well-being of those a part of it.
I have so many thoughts on how improving a natural space that's within walking distance for people can improve lives, that it's hard to know where to start.
Barnett said that she has seen the rise in anxiety and depression in her neighborhood firsthand as she describes a mental health pandemic, especially amongst local teens.
When I look around this space and I know that there are hundreds of kids that live within a block of this park, but we don't see them here, it breaks my heart.
Barnett hopes an improved park could give those struggling a place to find support or perhaps a new friend. Currently, the project is still seeking community input and a definitive timeline has not been announced, but Graff hopes to break ground next spring.
Community members interested in giving feedback on the plan or requesting park features can visit the Thrive Lester Park Facebook page or attend an Ogden City Council meeting. My name is Star Neal, reporting from Lester Park, Ogden.
Thank you so much, Star. Tonight, we'll also be following up on a previous story about disability services. A survey analyzing student disability services is undergoing extensive revisions amid multiple complaints that the office is not granting certain accommodations. Miriam Green, the WSU disability liaison and survey conductor, was frustrated to find that all uses of the word harassment and discrimination were replaced by vaguer phrases.
And kind of what I explained is, every time that you're replacing discrimination with bullying, you're really not acknowledging this is a continuum, right? Bullying makes me feel uncomfortable, right? It's frustrating, it's irritating, can largely ignore it. Harassment is concerning. It makes me feel unsafe.
Green says she understands that there are very specific legal definitions. However, she feels that the more revisions are more like an erasure.
Listen.
Green must now decide whether to keep the revisions or to instead distribute the survey to random samples across campus. The second option would allow her to include whatever questions she wanted, although it would no longer be catered specifically to students who use disability services. Man, I am always so impressed when I see students keeping Weber accountable.
I know. I love it when students use their voice. I think it's so powerful.
Definitely makes me feel like I can do the same.
Giving Tuesday is an annual tradition that dates back to 2012 and is a day for people to help others. This Day of Generosity has entered its 13th year, and it focuses on working as a community to help those who are in need. Giving Tuesday allows people a chance to be appreciative of what they have and help those who are not as fortunate. Individuals can donate time, money, or products to various organizations. They are asking for any donations made to go locally through the Safe at Weber Emergency Fund. These donations will benefit and help fellow Weber State students who have been personally impacted by domestic violence and sexual assault. Please think of others during this time and give a helpful hand if possible.
So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I'm Kyle Indahar.
And I'm Gracie Stevenson. Good night.